Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Necromancer beta for Diablo 3. Apologize if I'm a little terse today. Of course, as you may have seen in the comments or the section below... I'm sorry, I put it in a note. You may have seen it in a note. That I got sick again. It seems to be my lot in life lately. This time it's not like physical issues I normally deal with, it's just I literally got sick, and then I got sick again, and it led to an infection, so yeah. Taking antibiotics. It's fun. But anyway, I leveled, so we should see what I leveled with, shouldn't we?
I need essence.
Been a couple patches since the last video. But for the life of me, I couldn't tell you exactly everything that's happened. I know there's been some buffs to blood skills and Necromancer survivability in general has appeared to be buffed. And again, I apologize if I'm rough. I know I'm going to be a bit rough, and I may even cough in your ears a few times. So let this be a warning to you headphone users that that might happen. And I don't mean it. I don't mean it badly. It just might happen. And I have no essence, so of course I can't even curse anything. So I need to level, because I'm at 33, and I'm actually halfway past 33 now. So let's get a move on, shall we? With what did I unlock? Grim Scythe. Grim Scythe, Cursed Scythe. Enemies hit by the scythe have a 15% chance to be inflicted with a random curse. Its damage also turns into poison. So this is cool. So a random curse. So you could actually go curseless, although it is only a 15% chance. So you know you can't fully depend on it. But the fact that it is a random curse is kind of cool. Now, from what I have heard, is that random curse may not be one of the three main curses that you have. It could be something like a charm curse or something like that. We'll have to take a look. We'll have to see if we can't identify that. So we're going to go back to Corpse Explosion with Shrapnel. Corpses will now explode away from me, and they will hit targets in a cone. The damage is also turned into poison. So that'll be interesting. Leech, we're going to go back to Decrepify, which has also been buffed on the base level. Enemies' movement speed is 75%, and their damage is reduced by 30%, which I believe was 20 before. We are going to get Opportunist. We're going to get 3% movement speed increase for every enemy curse up to 30%. So that's going to get me quite a bit of speed, I think. Great. So this is a little awkward build. Decrepify will keep me alive since I'll be using Grim Scythe. I have no pets that I'm using. I may actually take Blood Rush off for some pets. Maybe even just a Golem, because then I can do standalone to keep my survivability up. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to get Ice Golem because he's been changed. He doesn't explode anymore. He launches an Icy Blast towards enemies now. So, there we go. Since I'm going to take off the mages, I don't know what I want to put on it, though. If I'm using the spear, I think I should use Nova. In fact, we'll use Tendril Nova just for survivability, just in case I need it. I have put the difficulty up to Torment to see if my survivability works well. Now, I don't have a Scythe anymore. I'm switching out to a sword, so let's get Dark Reaping off of here. And let's see, what can we do? Is there anything I have for curses at the moment? I can get the attack speed of Grim Scythe up, which actually could be helpful. And standalone would be good. So what if I do, instead of Dark Reaping, well, standalone for one, just for that. Extended Servitude I don't need anymore because all I've got is, okay. So we'll take Extended Servitude off and we'll do Swift Harvesting. And do I need anything other than the Harvesting or the Essence? We could do Bone Prison. Except for, well, I've got the Spirit. No, I don't think that'll be as useful right now. Since I am blowing up corpses, I could get Life from Death. Yeah, you know what? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. We'll do that because I'll be getting movement speed from Decrepify, supposedly. So let's take a look at it. You can see I'm attacking pretty quick now. Gotta get some corpses now. So let's see if we can get the Howling Blast to come up. So we'll just... Boom, you can see, yeah, he doesn't just explode from himself, he fires the blast at them now. Alright, we're going to put down some curses, and we can see, yeah, I've got some pretty good movement happening here. I obviously don't have the full movement speed buff from Paragon and all that. Oh yeah, which one am I using? Is it the one that does more damage for every enemy it passes through? Okay. Alright, let's go get these corpses. They should explode away from me. Does it? Okay, yeah, I still target it. Oh wow, look at that. And the range on it is nice. Very nice, although my killing power has certainly diminished from the new difficulty, although we are fighting yellows. So yeah, movement speed's pretty good. Pop that, have that explode on somebody.
My essence is too low.
Yeah, the essence gain on the Scythe is actually really good, considering it gives you essence per target hit. Boom. I like the way that looks. It just blows outward. And with that, we're getting very close already to 34. So we will get that here in just one moment. A few of these guys. You can just see the amount of damage that does. Wow. So this corpse explosion is kind of nice. It's got a very large radius. It's just that, I mean, obviously you have to be behind it, and you have to make sure that your character is directing the blast. It's almost like a claymore mine, really. It just blows out. It has a small central area, and then just bursts out really wide. So that's pretty impressive. You just gotta be careful about positioning. Looks like I'll be getting rid of it immediately, though, to get into Corpse Lances and Ricochet. So it has a 20% chance to ricochet to one additional target. Alright, and it's poison. So we'll give that a go. Army of the Dead will be replacing our Golem now, and we'll be getting Death Valley. So this is the Skeletal Army knocks all afflicted enemies towards the center, which is cool. I mean, it's already really cool looking, and it looks like it draws everything in the center. Now it actually will be. Let's see if the art changes at all. Blood and Bone will see us with a new Blood Rush rune, so we're going to be getting rid of our Bone Spirit, which means I'm going to be losing a lot of damage here, actually, well, aside from Army of the Dead. This is going to get Potency, though. This increases my armor by 100% for 2 seconds after casting. So that means even though I lose health, I'll burst out, and that's pretty good. I feel like I'm going to need some actual damage, though. So I'm not really sure which route I'm going to go with that. I've got lances for some good damage, but when I don't have lances, I'm going to need something substantial, I would think. And honestly, when it comes to secondaries, Bone Spear has been buffed. We can see it's 500 damage, 400 damage on the mages, 350. I mean, 350 is not bad, but this does a lot more. And I like Shatter, but I feel like... Oh yeah, they did buff, by the way, because I believe before I wondered what the use of... Let me cancel out of this. What the use of Bone Spike's Bone Pillars was when it did about the same damage but had a smaller area. So like Bone Spikes has a pretty large area, but Bone Pillars had a much smaller area and only hit 2 enemies. Well, they increased the damage to compensate. Makes a lot of sense now. So you've got 150 on the base, and then here on Bone Pillars, where it only hits 1 or 2, it's 225. So Bone Pillars is going to be a more powerful primary for single targets when you're deciding to use that. So we're going to move on. Where was I? Oh yes, picking anything. Let's just do Shatter. I think Shatter will be good. And we'll move on. Get some speed, and actually I will move these around so that it's more like what I'd be used to. Ooh, hello. And you can see the aura around me that shows I've got the armor now. And pop it. Oh, look at that, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Oops, get out of that cold. So I think I might need to move off the Scythe because this build appears to be a lot more long range. Although, at the same time, because this gives me armor...
I'm afraid
Oh, I forgot to use my lances. Look at that. Bam, bam.
I require a corpse for that.
Oh, really? I missed twice? But because Blood Rush is going to give me armor, I can use this in a more close-up melee type build as well. So we'll reduce their damage. Oh wow, yeah, look at that. The corpses from way back there are actually starting to pull. I'm not seeing the Ricochet, I don't think. I mean, it is only a 20% chance. And I don't know how visible it would be.
No.
Alright, so running out of essence. There we go.
I'm afraid not.
Sheesh, no corpses? Come on. It's a pretty good AoE build, actually, considering this wide arc of the scythe itself. Oh, I think I saw it bounce that time. Okay, cool. So it does work.
I'm afraid not.
Wow, that does a good amount of damage. Good amount of damage. What is it in total again? 1750. Wow. Huh.
I'm afraid not. I must have a corpse.
Now, supposedly they sped up some of the animations on these corpse explosions and things like that, which is nice. I was talking about that at one point in one of the previous videos about how it seemed like you didn't quite get the ability to use it like you would expect, almost like you would expect to be able to explode corpses, almost like you were using. I kind of akin it to
That is not possible.
Using Frost Nova. Oh, jeez. Quite nice. Well, we're almost there. We're getting very close to 35. So if I could stop actually running into walls and dead ends and actually utilize this pylon that I have. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Kill like 5 things with a pylon. Oh, yes, by the way, I noticed this by playing a little bit earlier. And I had a different video I was going to try and do, but I scrapped it. Didn't turn out. There are lower level versions of the legendaries. So they have set that up. I got a spear that I think gave me additional thorns with every cursed enemy nearby. So that's pretty cool that they have made it, they have got the low level things in there. Alright, so we leveled. I really, I need to get the new skills. Let's just kill a few things first, I guess. God, look how fast it dies.
That is not possible.
Alright, here we go. We are going to get a new Siphon Blood. Apparently, this is Power Shift. Damage increased by 10% each time damage is dealt to a maximum of 10 stacks. And its damage turns into poison. So we now have kind of one of the staples of a lot of channeled skills. A lot of channeled skills nowadays have that where they increase damage over time. So we get 300, and then we get 10% to 10 stack. So up to, looks like up to 400% weapon damage, which is pretty good actually when you consider that 500 is Bone Spear. So, I mean, that's going to start getting quite a bit of damage in a primary. A primary that also heals you. So that's kind of impressive, actually. A new Death Nova. We're going to get Blight. We leave a lingering patch of Blight on the ground, slowing enemies by 60%, and we cause them to deal 15% less damage. So here's another skill that's going to allow us to survive up and close, and since we're keeping Decrepify, enemies are pretty much going to be useless up front. So it looks like my primary damage is going to be from Siphon Blood. With Death Nova, I'm putting down the Blight, and you can see that. Ooh, not bad. It doesn't last very long. It's very brief. It's like 1 second, but it's got some neat art to it. Like that. Like it. Nova the heck out of everything. And I've still got the yep, just hit that. I've still got my I forget the name of it, Blood Rush. So the only downside to channeling this to getting its maximum damage is, unlike other channeled skills, you can't change targets. So, I mean, I refer to, usually when I refer to channel skills, I talk about the Wizard's Frost Ray a lot because it's one I'm very familiar with. You think about it, you have like one rune, for instance, that very much is designed
I'm afraid not.
to channel and gain more damage. But you can sit there and you can channel and you can hit different targets. Of course, here I am just siphoning away anyway. Alright, this is neat. The Blight Nova thing is neat, but the fact that it only lasts 1 second almost makes me wonder the viability of its survivability half, you know? Just gonna throw a bunch of things your way. I mean, I can stack it a few times in the course of a second, so it looks like I can stack it probably twice in a second. I mean, I know that's probably not what its primary function is, so to consider it that way would be folly. But the fact that it has it, I don't know, it seems weird. And I could pop it every second here. See, the problem is, though, every time I change targets... Okay, no, okay, alright. I see what they did. I didn't even realize that. There, you notice there's a timer on the thing here, so it's got... Because I can't channel it like I can channel other skills, what they've done is they've added a timer that shows how long the stacks will last for the increased damage. So most channels drop it almost immediately. This one actually has a timer, and it doesn't really tell you that there's a timer. It doesn't say it in the description, but when you actually cast it, you can see there's a little cast bar. And so even though I can't just say, oh, quick, go to that target now, I can swap and keep the buff going as long as I want because of that timer. So I was really thinking that this version, this power shift, was going to be not nearly as useful as it seemed because you would drop the buff, but it seems like you can actually keep the buff going. So that's really great. I'm like seeing that. We're going to get a new revive. We've got Purgatory. Revive minions will now degenerate back into usable corpses at the end of their duration. So I will be able to keep minions around with me for a while. It's assuming I don't spam it like I usually do, but it's also a way to try and keep minions with you in, say, boss fights and things like that. Command Golem is going to go... we're going to lose the Army of the Dead back into Command Golem. We're going to get the Bone Golem. I like this one. I've actually seen this one in action. The Golem becomes a tornado of bone, carrying all nearby enemies to the targeted location, and it stuns them for 2 seconds. It does 2,000 weapon damage. It's physical over the duration. So, very cool. And you can take a look at the Bone Golem here. And if you want to see his ability, here it is. Bone Storm.
Give it more time.
I can't do voices and impressions with my throat the way it. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. But yeah, those of you who played Wrath of the Lich King and WoW will probably will get that one, I'm sure. Looking good, looking good. I'll show you guys how useful the Bone Storm really is. We can see that my minions are kind of turning back as I need them, which is good. Look at all this damage, and I'm healing. Look how much I'm healing through this too. Wow, nice. I've almost got the cooldown back, so let's put him over here. And then I'll get my revives. Still got my 10 stacks. I mean, just look at the damage. You can see I'm just draining it out of this guy. Not bad. So, yeah, and there's the corpses. They just turn back. Not bad. I do think I like the damage that this drain does, considering that it's not a resource spender. I mean, that's 400 damage. Is it a second? I assume it's a second. Or tick. The fact that it heals as it does it. I mean, this is pretty amazing, actually. If you think about it. It's a channel ability that gains damage as it goes and heals you. It's pretty good. It seems like it's doing a lot of extra duty work here, you know? And there's the Bone Storm. You can see they stuns them all. Let's get my corpses back. Alright, I'm getting close to level here. I just had a pretty long, protracted fight, and I gotta say, that really made this new Revive rune shine. I didn't say anything during it, so it wasn't exactly the most compelling thing to watch. But I will say that it's been real easy to keep up the buff of the drain. And in long fights like here, like I might not be killing very quickly. It's kind of nice to have my minions revert back into corpses for me, because yeah, I mentioned boss fights, but didn't really even think about it. There's going to be some fights, it's just long fights, even if you're not fighting a boss. It could be a particularly tough pack. It's nice to be able to pull your minions back, because if you're not killing, if you're in a pack and they don't have any more minions to revive, then you would kind of be at a disadvantage. So this rune kind of covers for that disadvantage, which is kind of nice. And you see here, yeah, I can just go ahead and start this fight with a bunch of minions, and it's quite useful. And yeah, this build is actually highly survivable. I'm constantly draining, and of course when I use my Nova, I reduce any damage they might do to me, and then of course I can just bring my minions back because they're constantly surviving. I mean, this build overall is actually working pretty well. Only reason why I'm not spamming more Nova is I'm just trying to make sure I keep that 500% or 400% weapon damage on the drain. Oh, and I almost dropped it there. Let's get some minions back. And then we have leveled, so we'll take a look at what 37 has in store for us, eh? I also need to see if I get any pretty cool legendaries coming forward here. So let's go on. We've got a new Blood and Bone. Our Blood Rush is going away for a new Bone Spirit. This one is Panic Attack. Enemies within 10 yards are feared for 2 seconds when the Bone Spirit detonates. So I can pick a location and an enemy, and that enemy will... I'll target them, and then everything will run away from that location. So that's not too bad. Curses, we have Leech, which of course again gives healing back, and this has been buffed as well. A lot of the life draining appears to have been improved, so more life returned here. And we've got Blood Flask. Whenever a cursed enemy dies, my potion cooldown is reduced by a second. That's interesting. I don't think wow, I'm trying to remember anything that usually interacts with the potion. I think that's a first, really. That could go into some interesting builds. You know, something like getting the Kool-Aid, where you can use a potion to knock yourself through walls, or if there were some you know, if they added more interesting potions, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, potion cooldown on Leech. Interesting. I mean, that's really interesting. Okay, well, I guess we'll keep that. I don't think we'll really see too much on that. I'll maybe try and pop my potion, and we'll see if we can visibly see it. We'll do the panic attack as well. I guess I'll just very quickly... Oh, no, that... Alright, nothing new on the equipment, and no new legendaries. A Scourge and a... Ooh, hello. So let's pop the potion... well, I need to get hit. I need to take damage here. Alright, pop the potion. They're all cursed. Now you can see there's the fear. Oh, it's got a green glow to it now. It's pretty cool. Not too bad. I can't say we're getting too much out of the new abilities, really.
No.
Drain the heck out of you. Of course, these freaking shields. I hate... Have I ever mentioned I hate these guys with the shields? They are the bane of my existence. Alright, get in there. Thank you. Well, close to leveling again. 38. Will hopefully give me something to work with. I'm not as interested. These skills are not as interesting to me. I can see the potential in them, sure. But the fear thing, I mean, can be good crowd control, right? The potion thing, cool.
I must wait.
As of right now, I don't have much I can do with it, because I mean, I'm not getting hit as much, and I'm healing a lot, so... I mean, the fact is, it's also on a Leech, right? Which gives me, life back anyway. I mean, I'm draining life. Draining life and leeching life and potions. So, there you go. It's just the way it's working. Well, let's see what we got. Revive is going to be replaced with Devour. This time with Devouring Aura. Oh yeah, you know what? There's something I want to check, see if they fixed it. Let's go to Devour and Ruthless for the minions. And it looks like they did fix it. So real fast, I want to see if the Skeletal Mage problem that we saw, where when I summon a Skeletal Mage, it gives me back all of my essence. I'm pretty sure it won't, but I think they fixed it. Yeah, see, it didn't go up the full. And we can verify by doing this. Yep, they fixed it. So, yeah, I talked about that in the last video. It was definitely bugged, so I didn't really get a lot out of it. Didn't really get a lot out of the skill to be able to tell anything about it. So we'll keep Blight, but we've got Devour and Devouring Aura. So basically Devour is now going to be an aura. It consumes all corpses within 15 yards to restore 11 essence per corpse. The range of the effect is increased by half of gold pickup radius. So you can increase it, should you need to. So basically what this means is I'm going to be giving a constant supply of essence, more than likely. So I'm going to want to make sure I have something to capitalize off of that. Looks like we're going back. We're going to Land of the Dead, actually. This is new. This is a 120-second cooldown. Is that? Okay, no, okay. 120-second cooldown. All corpse skills can be used at will for 10 seconds. So I can use that to basically fuel me with essence combined with this Devouring Aura. So what does that mean? Well, I could probably Singularity Mage again. And on top of that, what should I do? If I don't really need life from death. What is this? This is spreading malediction. Receive 1% damage bonus for each enemy afflicted by one of my curses. Excellent. I like that. So it's swift harvesting, standalone. So we've got some damage buffs now. So now we can see the aura around me. And so now I should get essence fairly regularly. Oh, and that was Land of the Dead. Yeah, look at this. Look at the mages I have because of Land of the Dead.
My essence is too low.
And those are all singularity mages. So I need to get closer if I want the essence. Wow, my essence gain is really high right now. Just keep popping them out the moment I see that I'm getting some. Pop out some of these. Yeah, just look at this essence gain. I mean, that's pretty impressive, really. Just go towards a corpse and it devours it for me. Don't even have to think about it, really. And not only that, but it synergizes pretty well with Bone Spirit, because every time I consume a corpse, it lowers the cooldown. So this is, honestly, I don't have to, it's basically a set it and forget it. I never have to touch this again. And it's just going to constantly do the things, you know, consume the stuff around me. And again, fairly useful, it would seem, for any kind of close range melee type build. Which Siphon Blood appears to work fairly well in close range regardless, because it doesn't really need much else. I mean, it's a long range ability, but I mean, there's no reason that you can't channel it in close range, even if the Scythe is more thematically a close range ability.
I see riches ahead.
So we're gonna get in here and get the channeling. Pop, get some of these out there. Oh wow, I can just pop all kinds of bone spirits. This is ridiculous. I am popping bone spirits like crazy here. Bone spirit, bone spirit, bone spirit, bone spirit. Oh my god. And that's without Land of the Dead. That was just this, that's just this pylon letting me do it. Oh my god, a pylon. Okay, channeling pylon is amazing when you've got a bone spirit. My gods. Alright, I look forward, I gotta get to a boss because I need to do Land of the Dead. And I need to just pop all kinds of singularity mages on them. Alright, here we go, here we go. Just gonna pop about half strength mages. Pop my there we go.
I need essence.
Wow.
The Rift Guardian has come.
I should have saved it for the Guardian. I didn't even think of it. Holy mackerel.
I need to go.
The prophet would be pleased.
I'm gonna try it. I want to see how quickly I can knock this guy down, so I'm gonna wait for the cooldown. Alright, so here's the plan. I didn't even think about it, but because of all the consumption, I should be able to pop a bunch of spirits. So I'm going to go in there, pop all of my spirits, pop Land of the Dead, and I'm going to try and alternate between the two, because I imagine I'll be getting both of them back pretty quickly. So here we go. I'm going to pop the spirits, 1, 2, 3, pop Land of the Dead, and oh yeah, there it goes. Alternating. Yeah, I'm alternating a spirit and a mage.
That is not
Spirit and a mage, and now I'm back to normal damage. And we can just see how much damage that did. That was a lot of single target. And what's great is because of the way this channel works, is I can channel up to this full 10 stacks, and I get half of my essence real quick, and then I just pop it in the singularity, and go right back to channeling, and I don't drop the buff. With this build, I definitely think standalone might be a little less useful, but overwhelming essence would definitely get my damage up. And swift harvesting will let me keep getting the essence I need. So we're at 39. It looks like we're going to lose the bone spirit, unfortunately, but we're going back to bone armor. And we're going to have limited immunity. Your armor absorbs all incoming damage and grants immunity to all CC effects, but only lasts for 5 seconds. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So bone armor normally only normally has a 10-second cooldown and gives you a lot of damage reduction. So what you're doing in essence is turning your bone armor into something like the Barbarian's Ignore Pain. You're increasing the cooldown by quite a bit. You're going to a 45-second cooldown from 10 seconds. But you're basically making yourself immune to damage and crowd control for 5 seconds. So you're trading in long-term damage reduction for a very quick, limited invulnerability state, basically. Looks like we're going back to Frailty. Frailty is going to get Aura of Frailty, so it becomes an aura that curses all enemies within 15 yards. So now not only do I have the aura of Devour, which let me go out here. You can see I've got 2 auras. You can kind of see the green aura and then the purple aura. Kind of one after the other appearing. Green, purple. So one is the Devour aura, one is the Frailty aura. Now that's kind of neat. Again, it's a set it and forget it, so you could probably build a fairly passive build with these auras. But you got to keep in mind the auras are a very limited range around you, so if you're going a long range build, these are not going to be ideal. But on top of that, if you're good about keeping them up, then it seems like you would get more benefit from using another rune instead. Like you're using a rune to make it passive, as opposed to using the rune to gain an additional benefit. Now, if you're really bad with auras, like I do it, I do it a lot where I forget to put things down like auras and whatnot. It happens. So if you're bad with that, then it might be good for you. But otherwise, if you're not bad with it and you can keep putting things down, yeah, you're probably better off getting some other kind of rune, unless you can double it up with something, with an item or something. So Land of the Dead is going away, unfortunately, because it's a shame because I really liked it. But we're going to back to command skeletons. We've got Freezing Grasp. The target of my command is frozen for 3 seconds. So it's a quick CC. That's cool. Now, since these are all both passive now, I feel like... let's see, I can move that to 4. I can do that to 5 because I don't need anything else. There we go. So I've got 2 passives going on right now with the Frailty and the Devour. Skeletons is grayed out. I think that's just because I don't have a target. Weird. Let's see the armor. Boom. Oh.
I need essence.
Didn't pop the cooldown. I just don't have the... Okay. I didn't have bones to pull, so it must not have activated at all. Well, that's good. You know, that's something else I need to see. If my Golem dies, if I do command Golem, if they fix that. God, the auras. It's colorful. Look at that. So colorful. Alright, let's get some essence here. So... Yep, I can pop the skeletons now. And they freeze things, like they should, like you expect. Let's go ahead and pop the armor. We can see there's the armor. And it's gone. So the downside to The downside to command skeletons with something like this for CC is it only CCs one target, right? Because I can basically hit it one target. But I mean, on the upside, it you can do it to like this guy, and you can do it over and over again. So even though the buff that they get, right, you gotta consider this, right? The buff that the skeletons get stays permanent until the target that you ordered them on dies.
Give it more time.
But you can still use the ability multiple times in order to keep freezing things should you need to. And I'm in the middle of a clusterfuck here, so let me try and get out of this. Now you can see the survivability is pretty strong there. I did have to use a potion real quick, but... And there's Frailty kicking in.
I'm afraid not.
Yeah, honestly, I'm starting to like Singularity more and more now. It hits so hard when it hits maximum essence, and you can spam it fairly reliably with something like Siphon. I mean, you get so much power or so much essence, it seems. All right, come on, finish him off. We've got new abilities to talk about. We're at level 40 now, so looks like the bone armor is going away already to Blood Rush. Transfusion. Heals for 2% of maximum health for every enemy passed through. So it does cost health, but I can heal. If I pass through at least 3 enemies, I heal back what I lost. And let's face it, you can get some pretty large groups, so this could actually be a fairly good healing ability. I'll have to see if I can get a large group and intentionally lose some health. So we're going to lose Devour. We're going back to Corpse Explosion. This time it's Dead Cold. Freeze all enemies caught in the explosion for 2 seconds. So I've got 2 freezing things now. And, you know what? The Spreading Malediction, I didn't even think about that. This is pretty good with that aura, because you're just constantly, you're constantly putting the curses down. Although again, I feel like you might get more out of it if you just target it yourself, because you can be preemptive about it. But let's see what we got. We got Eternal Torment. My curses cost 50% less essence and last forever. That is something that the Witch Doctor has, so nothing we haven't seen before. So I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Some of the things here are, I don't want to say boring, but it's like, again, it's stuff we haven't seen before, considering we're getting this in a character pack. But at the same time, it's stuff that's been tried and true. It's been tested and works. So we are seeing a lot of new stuff. So it's not surprising. It shouldn't be surprising that we're seeing a lot of old stuff too. So we're getting a lot of the stuff that we know are reliable tools for the other classes that can be brought in over here. I mean, it's going to be difficult to do everything completely new. Considering I got a Frailty aura, there's no reason for me to use that passive right now. So, whoops, I need to move these around. Yeah, look at that damage. It's pretty good, isn't it? Alright. So I'm going to do this. Alright, let's see. Poop.
I must wait.
And what is the cooldown? 5 seconds. So let's take a look. Can we see, didn't really see that much of a difference in the art. That's okay. Let's see if I can't intentionally take some... Oh, wow. Okay. Hop through, and I didn't really see a lot of healing there. That's not surprising, to be honest.
Not possible.
Because this isn't really a large group. The enemies themselves are large, but the group itself is not so much large. Ooh, alright, let's get these guys into the corpse explosion, shall we? Come here. Nice. Lots of damage plus freezing. I like it.
My master
I need to change my buttons, but I like it. I like it. Just something about hitting them with a giant explosion that also freezes them in place. Let's just move that around. Okay. And we're at 41 already. We're moving along at a pretty good clip, and almost at the hour mark, so I think we've almost gotten 10 levels again, which is good. Reanimation is going to command Golem again, so we're going to get Decay Golem. The Golem consumes corpses at the targeted location, increasing its damage by 30% per corpse. Command Golems turns into poison. Okay, so that gives me something else to consume corpses with. Doesn't look like I got anything else new. Just cycling through just to make sure I'm not missing anything. We did get a passive of Final Service. When you take lethal damage, you are sustained, preventing all damage for 4 seconds. In addition, all minions are consumed to heal you for 10% of your life. This effect cannot occur more than once every 60 seconds. So it's another one of the get out of death free cards, basically. Give you about 10% of your life. Consume your minions to do it. Okay. That's cool. So the only thing we really have to look at, really at this point, is Decay Golem. Ooh. Speaking of Decay Golem, ooh. So he can consume corpses now. Oh, and it's a pretty good radius. You can kind of see it there. It's 45-second cooldown. How long does the... So therein lies the question, how long does the buff last? And it's kind of a tough call here, because I can blow a whole bunch of stuff up, or I can make the Golem consume it. Right, so if I... Oh, yeah. And then, just gonna do that. So Golem has got... Well, he's got 45 seconds, so while his cooldown is down, so boom, he's just consumed a bunch of corpses. And now he should be doing a bunch of damage. Huh.
That needs to recharge. My wounds have closed.
So, the unfortunate thing here is I can't really tell
Give it more time.
how much damage it's getting. So, what this really needs, right? What this really needs is a buff bar at the bottom, like any other skill that does this, that has him maybe highlighted in gold, and have a bar above his head, so I can tell how much damage he's improved by. Because as of right now, I can't tell how much damage he has. I can't tell how long it lasts. It doesn't say there's a duration. So, I mean, are we to assume that by the tooltip alone, that our Golem can infinitely grow in size by consuming corpses? I would think that would be a ludicrous assumption, to be honest. That seems awfully silly to me.
I must wait.
And I'm pretty sure there's no one here that thinks that. But let's be honest, it is a compelling thought. It'd be like, ooh, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
I must wait.
Well, it looks like we're going to get the 42. I'm liking this more and more, the Singularity build, and honestly, I'm liking Siphon Blood the most so far. Especially with this ability to channel it.
My power has grown.
Alright, well, let's see what 42 gives us. We're going to lose the Golem again. You know, I wonder how they've set up these levels, because it's like I feel like I'm gaining a skill and then losing it immediately. If I'm playing in elective mode, I'm losing the skills I'm gaining immediately. Oh well, Army of the Dead is back. This time with unconventional warfare. Skeletons will rise from the ground and attack random targets for 50,000 total damage as physical over 4. So it's another AoE, or sorry, another dot. That one's 14. This one's 50. That's ridiculous. It says random targets though. So the damage is so much higher because the damage is unpredictable. We've seen skills like that before. I believe Manitou, something like that. It's a, I believe it's one of the wizard's familiars that does random damage around you. You cannot rely on it, but its damage is pretty high. So in a big group, you really wouldn't worry about it. We're going to have to try it. We're going to see how unreliable it is. Decrepify as Wither. Damage reduction is increased to 40%, but no longer reduces movement speed. So we now have a Decrepify that does not slow the enemy down, but it does... Oh, look at that. Okay. I didn't mean to pop that. I didn't realize what slot that was in. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm not really...
I can't do that.
I'm not seeing a lot of healing from my Blood Rush. I'm really thinking it's not an ability you can depend on for healing. I think it's boosted me up a little bit every now and then. But certainly, since I've gotten it, hasn't felt like it's been that great of an ability. Like, I have a feeling there might be other runes that might be just better suited. Alright, so I've hit 43. And I think I should probably close it off with this one. Might not finish the Rift, because really the Rift is not going to coincide really good with the end. We're going to get a new primary, new bone spikes. We're going to get Path of Blood, so we're finally changing out our primary. Path of Bones, sorry. Path of Bones says it now unleashes a line of spikes that does 100% weapon damage as physical. The damage is increased by up to 100% the further away enemies are. So that's kind of neat. That takes a passive that a lot of range characters have normally. You do 16, 13, and it's only 900 close up. So it takes what's normally a passive for a lot of characters. The farther away enemies are, the more damage it does, and it just wraps it right into a convenient package here, and it makes it part of the skill itself. Alright, so I had to fight off a bunch of enemies. You see some of them decide they still want to stick around. And I can already tell I already missed Siphon Blood. I mean, this is okay. And it's 150, possibly up to 300 farther away. But this Siphon's up to 400. And it stays constant. Feels a lot better. Not only that, but it's giving me health back. So it feels like, honestly, I like just the Siphon Blood feels really good on the kit. Let's go to corpses where we've got a new revive skill. We're going to be getting Recklessness. Revive minions will now deal an additional 25% damage, but they only last 10 seconds. They also turn into cold. So normally revive lasts for 15. This lowers the cooldown, or lowers their duration by 5 seconds. But you can possibly get a lot of damage out of them since they're doing a quarter more. Increase that with, like, say, Frailty, where they take more damage from minions, and you could really make that work. In fact, I think what I'll do, even though I don't have a new curse, is I think I'll take that to try and show it off. So 15% damage from minions, so they do 25% more damage, and they'll take 15% more. So we can try and get a good feel for how this revive will work. Army of the Dead's going to go away again, which is good, because I'm not a big fan of the random damage. The Land of the Dead is going to get its first rune, Frozen Lands. Enemies in the Land of the Dead are periodically frozen. Now, think about Land of the Dead. I'm going to do it here because I've did it like 2 or 3 times on the video here, and I never really even saw it. So I'm going to just pop it here and then wait for the cooldown, and I'll do the other one so we can kind of see it. So this is Land of the Dead. So you see, you know, the big notifier is, okay, yeah, there's a bunch of tombstones, there's kind of a fog rolling in, but it's mainly the glow around the Necromancer that really gives it away. That's pretty cool. I didn't even really see it when I was fighting. I was so focused on everything else. So we'll see what it looks like with its first rune when the cooldown comes back. Alright, here we go. We're going to have a Land of the Dead with frozen lands, and also what I'm going to do real quick is show off how Revive works. This was a question I had when I first heard about the ability. This allows you to use corpse skills without corpses. You know, so Devour makes sense. You get an essence. Corpse lands, yeah, hitting things and explosions. Okay, sure. It acts like there's explosions everywhere. So how exactly is Revive going to work? So I believe it just gives you generic skeletons, but we'll show it off here. Just making sure we're on frozen lands. So here's frozen lands. And then I'll go ahead and... Oh, wow. Okay. It's different from what I was told. It was... I thought it was generic skeletons, but I actually have a pretty good assortment of random enemies here. That's pretty cool. Oh man, I missed my drain already because. So one good thing about this skill that drain didn't have is that I can be very mobile, right? So they're just doing a bunch. We're just putting out a bunch of damage here, letting the minions cut loose on with the frailty out there, doing extra damage. Also, my mages should be affected by that, so I should be getting some extra damage from my singularity mages. The damage has been pretty good here with the revive, as you can see there. We were able to tear it there. I'll do a little bit, just a little bit more here. Like I'll come in here, we'll frailty the lot of them, right, and then we'll pop the corpses. You can kind of see we're getting some pretty good damage in there. That group is pretty much mostly dead. I accidentally popped it. It doesn't matter. I mean, like, popping it over and over again is useless. That's the problem. Using revive over and over and over again is not going to do me any good because the most I can have is 10 minions. Now, I'm wondering if the random assortment of minions I was given are based on the current minions in the zone. Like if it's based on what kind of monsters I'm currently fighting. That is entirely possible, because we look at what I'm getting hammer lords and things like that, and that's exactly what I'm already fighting. So it is entirely possible that it will take the current spawns into account. I really thought it was going to be generic enemies, generic skeletons. That's kind of what I had heard anyway. But then again, that was a couple patches ago. Who knows when that could have changed, or if I just heard wrong. Minions are doing a pretty good amount of damage, I'd say. You know, coming back on it, one thing we didn't really look at, so before I leave, what I'm going to go back to is I'm going to go back to my scythe, because we didn't really look at the random curses that I could potentially put on enemies. I was swinging the scythe and never really looked at it. So I'm going to go back to it real fast and see if we can't see it. And I'm also going to go into Corpse Explosion. We'll go into Dead Cold again. So when we pop that, we can just see how many corpses I can get. It'll probably be a massive of explosion. But let's see if we can't get some curses here. So there's one of my curses. Oh, I just knocked two on the same guy. There's Frailty. It's kind of interesting, actually. Getting random curses on the enemy. It looks to be the 3 primary curses, though. I'm not really seeing any icons over anyone's heads that would be any different than what I would expect. You know, like I'm not seeing a blind, I'm not seeing a seduced. No, wait. That one's got, I don't know what it was, but I saw a different curse. You know what would be nice is to know what kind of curses could potentially go down. Alright, so here we go. We're going to do the Army of the Dead. We're just going to, or not Army of the Dead, but Land of the Dead. And I'm just going to pop explosions. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. That ain't bad. So we've gotten to 44, and we're going to finish off this. So I was wrong about when I was stopping the video. I think I've got enough editing I can do. Take out maybe a half hour of what I've recorded, and I'm going to need to because this is... Oh boy. This is getting rough. Corpse Explosion is going to turn to Corpse Lance with Visceral Impact, which stuns targets for 3 seconds. Blood and Bone is going to change, our Blood Brush is going to change over back to Bone Spirit, so we're going to get Poltergeist. So I can get 4 charges now, instead of just 1. That feels like it's not very useful if you're going to be using Land of the Dead. But it can be useful for corpse heavy builds if you're not putting them out as much. It basically gives you 1 extra for big targets. Curses, Leech, so we're going to lose Frailty. We're going to go into Leech and then go into Sanguine End. Whenever a cursed enemy dies, you're healed for 200% of your life on kill. So not only are you getting Leech life, if you've got a lot of life on kill, then you can just be healed like a huge amount. Like life on kill is already a pretty strong heal. It's not super reliable compared to life on hit, but it can be a big burst heal when it's needed. And this will give you even more. I don't think there's anything else new. And I don't think we have any new... Nothing here, no. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Power Shift because I really like Power Shift. Singularity's working well. I can keep that with Frozen Lands. I almost want to get the Devour Aura, which I could combine with Corpse Lance and Bone Spirit and Mage. I would be popping 3 things at once, basically. That might be too much. So, Land of the Dead is going to let me just do Corpse Lance. Yeah, Land of the Dead with Corpse Lance and Bone Spirit. So this will be good. I'll have a lot of single target damage with this. And it stuns. So, looking forward to that. Here we go. Let's see how this looks. Kind of purpley, maybe. Okay. Well, I can pretty much just put that on them. Especially with Leech, I should be able to sit here and deal with any damage they really give to me. Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me. Oh my. You know, here I am. I've got Life Leech. Life Leech with regular Leech. Yeah. I'm good.
That is not possible.
The Rift God
Boom.
has arrived.
Alright, you ready? We're going to get the Army of the Dead. And we're just going to pop a bunch of these. And I'm popping the... popping my spirits as well. I don't think that was near as much damage as what I was getting out of the Devour with the mages, to be honest. I think it was still pretty powerful. Let's see if I can get a few more lances. Oh, I was not paying attention, and I just kind of died. That didn't work out, did it? Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. That guy just got stunned to oblivion and back. Ooh, okay. Yeah, that was a bit rougher than I thought it would be. So, yeah, there it is. Not bad, not bad. I don't think I'm as big of a fan as the Corpse Lances, although, yeah, they can do quite a bit of damage. I'm really liking the way the Singularity Mages actually work, to be honest. So I'm already starting to get some clear favorite abilities here, now that I've done a little bit more testing. Like, I've played some higher level Necro, but I didn't really go through all the skills. I just kind of picked some skills that seemed okay and went with them. But from this, I can already see I'm liking Siphon Blood a lot. Under the secondary, I'm liking Singularity more than I thought I would, because it's actually really easy to keep up with a constant stream of essence coming in from Siphon Blood. I thought I would be gravitating more towards the Spear or the Nova, but no. Because of the constant stream of Siphon Blood, this is really working out for me. I like Devour, in that it also helps me with that essence, and actually I kind of like the idea of Devouring Aura. Mainly because I would like to combine it with Land of the Dead. I think that works out really well, because then I'm just constantly fueling them, and I just blow this big cooldown, and I've got tons of mages just wailing on the enemy. And if I've got Bone Spirit, I'm doing even more damage. So honestly, what's really interesting is I'm finding myself gravitating away from pets and more towards this. Now, this is a lot of damage that I'm doing, a big damage build, but the survivability may be in question. Because the downside to all this is I would have to be able to survive everything. Now that should be done with Siphon Blood. Now, I'm thinking I will still like minion builds. I've always been a Petmancer. Oh, wow, look at the clipping on the... Well, it's not clipping, is it? Oh, I don't think it was clipping. Okay, hold on. There's apparently something going on with the grass, or... I don't know. Must have had some texture problem happening there. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know if it came through in the recording, but the cloak was like flashing different colors, or flashing on and off of color. It was kind of weird. But anyway, so yeah, I'm kind of gravitating towards certain things that I like so far, and I'm liking the Necromancer for sure. I mean, I was already convinced that I was going to be picking up the pack and maybe getting back into D3 when it came out. This is kind of cinching it for me. I mean, it's cool to play around with it and see exactly what this character can do. Will it keep me around long term? Probably not. I've never been a ladder climber. I basically get to a point where I'm satisfied. I'm like, oh, cool, I got a higher rift than I did last year. Or not last year, but last season. I'm good, and I stop. And I can typically get fairly average rift runs or whatever, so, and it makes me happy to be able to do that. I basically get to the point where I feel like my build is done, and then I just make micro improvements, and then I start to get bored. When you get to the micro improvement level, then you start to get bored. It's like, it's the hunt for the gear to make the build work that intrigues me. That is what I tend to like. Finding the gear in it, which is why I like the seasons, because it forces me to go through that hunt again. It's like, cool, can I make, and on the way, making hodgepodge builds. Can I make this work without the items? Can I make this work even though it's not perfectly aligned with the way the set should work? So the good news is I'll hit 45 within an instant. So next video I can start right at 45. And we'll move on. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Necromancer up to level 44. It's still cool. I still like it. And again, I've already talked about one of my favorite builds, so hopefully you've enjoyed this. I apologize again for the roughness of the voice. I probably shouldn't even be doing this, because I have no idea if it's going to hinder my healing or whatever. But you know what? I want to get these. I'm tired of being so far behind. So, this is kind of for me, too. Thanks again for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I see you again.